Greetings, everybody. My name is James. I am from the internet, and today we are going to be talking about the state of labor. Now, over the last 6 months, I have almost exclusively dedicated this channel, my time, and all of the videos I record to documenting the current wave of labor unrest here in the United States of America. Not only was I doing this because I am a worker, and as such, it would benefit me if workers en masse were able to get more for their labor or to acquire better benefits or better working conditions. Because when some laborers do better, ultimately, all laborers have a better chance of also asking for, or dare I say, demanding better. But more importantly, and the reason why I've been so focused on this, is because from a historical context, this is quite literally the first time in a century that members of the U.S. labor force have been able to stop running on the treadmill and step off of it for even half a second. And that was all it took for tens of millions of people to take one single breath, to have one moment to stop and look around and realize they were getting screwed, that income inequality was getting worse, not because the wealthy were so darn intelligent and good at what they do, but rather because they were exploiting the working class. And they continued to do it more and more year after year because they knew that the mass of labor here in this country would never have a moment to stop and consider just how bad shit was. Now, with my focus on this labor movement, I explained to everybody that what you were going to see was no less than war. Class war, a war between the working class and the capitalist class. Now, don't get it twisted. I'm not a fan of war. I never want to go off and fight a war. I know that all our wars are trash, and more often than not, they are fought to be continuously fought rather than to be won, because the machine wants to grind onward. And if you have any questions about, how we do war here in the States, please take a look at our war on drugs, our war on crime, our war on illiteracy, and our war on poverty. We're losing all of them, and that's why we have to keep spending billions of dollars to keep fighting them. Gotta keep the machine flowing. But I digress. So as the months passed and all the blue check marks, they just got burnt out on talking about labor, because the hashtag Striketober was so goddamn awesome that come November, all of those people just sort of scurried away like cockroaches in the kitchen in a tenement when you turn the light on. Yeah, those people weren't interested in the actual labor movement and the betterment of lives of tens of millions of people. They were interested in clicks and retweets and attaboys from other blue check marks, while myself and the remainder of the working class have steadfastly continued to keep our eye on the prize. And since we've spent so much time reviewing our victories, I am now here to remind you that along the way in a war, there are also battles that are lost. And unfortunately, a lot of us have gotten distracted with all the wins and the holiday pressure and going back to work. So everybody, here is your wake-up call that the class war is still fully rolling onward. Here we go. Bettercom CEO lays off 900 employees during pre-holiday Zoom call. See, there you go. Technology, it really does make business more efficient. I mean, remember when you used to have to call 900 people into the HR office one at a time and look them in the eye and tell them that their labor would no longer be required? Bish bosh. Now you just force everybody onto a Zoom call and lop off all the heads in one fell swoop. I mean, hey, that's just efficiency, right? About 900 employees of digital mortgage company Bettercom learned they had been laid off in an abruptly scheduled 3-minute group Zoom call just weeks before Christmas. Quote, "We are laying off about 15% of the company for a number of reasons. The market efficiency and performances and productivity," said CEO Vishal Garg during the December 1st meeting, according to a recording of the call posted to TikTok. He told employees the decision to let them go was, quote, "challenging." This is where I point out that the real challenge would have been finding a way to make your corporate business model work while retaining your employees and paying them a living wage. Because if your entire business is based on dropping your labor costs to next to nothing, your business, and your business plan are all fucking trash. Better.com announced back in May their plans to go public, but the deal was delayed. A day before the layoffs, the company received a $750 million cash infusion from its backers, according to both Fortune and TechCrunch. An employee who was laid off told NBC News the mass firing was an indication that the company needed capital urgently. Now, I did a little digging on this, and I'd like to show you exactly what the plan was and is for Better.com. Here is a quote from the same CEO of Better.com as listed on the public filing sheet. Quote, "This transaction is the beginning of an amazing new chapter in Better's history. This transaction provides investment capital to accelerate Better's growth and support for our mission to make homeownership simpler, faster, more affordable, and more accessible for all Americans, and eventually everyone else. This all got started because I wanted a place for my kids to call home." Oh, wow, look at that caring mission by the guy whose first priority was making sure that his kids had a place to call home. And well, when you're the CEO of a company that's getting $500 million in cash infusion from its investors while you lay off 20% of your workforce so that you can leverage future stock options in your current CEO contract by helping the company go public, well then yeah, this all makes sense because the CEO, he did exactly what he set out to do. He took care of himself and his kids, and in the process, he fucked over a lot of other people. Why? Because they're just workers and they don't mean shit to the wealthy. And now we shift from tech bros to manufacturing bros, so I can let everybody know that the Kelloggs strike that we have been covering on and off for the last few months seems to have come to a permanent end. Well, not actually an end, it's just that Kellogg has ended renegotiation with the union and have decided to just say fuck them. Kellogg said on Tuesday a majority of its U.S. cereal plant workers have voted against a new 5-year contract, forcing it to hire permanent replacements. Oh, wow, just forcing them to do it. You gotta hate when a bunch of workers standing outside your plant don't physically twist your arm and don't actually force you to do anything. You just choose to take the cheaper option because you don't care about your employees or the working class because you're a multi-billion-dollar corporation. Shocker here, everybody. Hold on, here it comes. It's world famous. Here comes my shocked face. Meanwhile, temporary replacements have already been working at the company's cereal plants in Michigan, Nebraska, Pennsylvania, and Tennessee, where 1,400 union members went on strike on October 5th as their contracts expired and talks over payments and benefits stalled. Quote, "Interest in the permanent replacement roles has been strong at all 4 of our plants as expected. We expect some of the new hires to start with the company very soon," said a Kelloggs spokesperson. In other words, the low-paid scabs were such good little people, and they did their jobs really hard, and they picked up manufacturing, and they're doing it for half the price of the union workers with no fucking benefits whatsoever. We're going to reward those lackey scabs with a permanent job, which literally means the same exact thing for them because they have no way to negotiate a better salary because they are non-union scabs. Kellogg also said there was no further bargaining scheduled and it had no plans to meet with the union. The company said that, quote, unrealistic expectations created by the union meant that none of its 6 offers, including the latest one that was put to a vote, which proposed wage increases and allowed all transitional employees with 4 or more years of service to move into legacy positions, came to fruition. Now, everybody, I would like to point out that if you read that little blurb, which was obviously provided by Kellogg to Reuters, and Reuters just put it in there almost word for word, yeah, if you just read that, you would think, wow, look at that. This company, they made 6 offers. 6! And they were even given raises. And these employees said no. Pfft, these people must be greedy. Fuck those people. Right? That's how it's written to sound, right? Do you want to know what the deal actually looked like that they offered? You know, after 6 offers, do you want to know what the best offer was? After 6 offers, which only came after a strike, which only came after the last year of negotiations, as both parties knew that there was only 1 year left on the contract, which means that Kellogg has been dragging ass on this negotiation for more than 2 fucking years. You want to know what the final offer looked like? The final offer was a 3% salary hike and preserved health benefits. A 3% increase in the year where Kellogg raised its own prices by 3% already, and inflation is up almost 7%. They offered 3% as their best offer after 6 offers, and hey, we will even let you keep your health insurance if you have health insurance. That was the best offer that Kellogg's came up with. So, fuck Kellogg's. And when I say fuck Kellogg's, that's my way of reminding you that all of these are Kellogg's brands. They are all shit, and they are all made by scab, non-union employees, and they are put out by a company that does not give a fuck about anybody except their C-level executives, their board of directors, and their shareholders. Do not give these pieces of crap a dime of your money because they don't deserve it. And speaking of money, before I roll out the door, here's my reminder to you that Kellogg is a publicly traded company with shares selling at $62 a pop. Also, look, amazing. It turns out that they're quite profitable this year. You know, in a year when supply chain and labor issues have been driving down productivity and endangering corporations. Weird how that works. So what does all of this mean for you at home, the fellow member of the working class? It means that even though there were a number of wins this year, this was not a bunch of individual battles. This is a war. This is all out class warfare. And make no mistake, the capitalist class, the financier class, the investor class, they will do whatever it takes to ensure that the working class stays separated and poor, because they understand that if the working class came together, they would have absolutely no ability to continue to negotiate subpar wages with any of their workers. In other words, everybody, do the opposite. Do whatever it is the corporations are spending billions of dollars to try to get you to not do. Organize, agitate, demand better. And one final note. If you are a worker out there and you hear all this and you just think it's pish-posh or gobbledygook and you don't have time for this kind of talk of classes and the working class and class warfare, just remember the people who are waging warfare on the working class, they don't care if you're aware of it or not. They don't care if you acknowledge it or not. They are going to keep beating the shit out of you, because even if you ignore the class war, well, the people who have the advantage in the current class war, they are going to continue warring against you, whether you ignore them or not. So I suggest you all get together and stop ignoring the ass kicking, because they're just going to get worse the longer you stand alone on an island. Until next time, My name is James. I am from the internet, and I am out. Peace.